very angry rant because we gotta talk about the state of PlayStation because
Now PlayStation fanboys want to talk about the state of PlayStation.
It does feel like a lot of Sony fans, a lot of just gaming industry enthusiasts have started to realize the fact that this generation is borked.
Woo! GameStop has told you guys this from the beginning, and yet you people weren't listening. Oh, you're just an Xbox fanboy. That's what it is. You don't care about PlayStation, even though I got a Sony controller in my hand. You know, that's what you people said, man. I've been trying to tell people this for years, but yet, for some reason, now you guys want to start listening to me?
Bad. It's kind of just going down into the history books to truly consider the fact that the PlayStation 5 is selling like crazy. It is exploding off store.
Yeah, but what about all the other categories, like the lack of live service and subscription, the cancellation of games, the fact that they can't even sell their exclusives worth a damn? I mean, there's a lot of things going on with the PlayStation 5 that you ponies just don't want to talk about. You guys are using the hardware sales to essentially completely dismiss the fact of all the other issues that is going on with this company.
Even now, 4 years into the generation, the PlayStation 5 Pro seems to have at least been partially successful, but there is not a bunch of crazy good Sony first-party stuff.
And when people was telling y'all that, y'all kept saying that they're fanboys to another competing platform, bro. When people told you that you had nothing but cross-generation games, remasters, and remakes, I told you guys, we are in the generation of re-res. It is what it is, where everything's going to be redone, resurfaced, repurchased, remastered, remade, everything. We're in the generation of re. I remember saying this. And yet, now all of a sudden, you people want to sit there and say, you know, I thought by 4 years Sony would have got it together. No, because you people didn't call it out from the beginning.
The worst that Sony first party has ever been. Like, actually consider that. PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, PlayStation Portable, PlayStation Vita.
You even adding the PS Vita. That speaks volumes to the lackluster library from Sony's first-party studios. What are you guys going to do now? Like, at this point, he's already admitted it, bro. You're going to take that back. That's not true. The Vita did not have more first-party games than the PS5, bro. Yes, it did. I mean, it's got to the point where Sony's doing second or third-party deals, and there still has less games than what you got with the Vita. It's about time the PlayStation fanboys get it together, man, because to be honest with y'all are single-handedly hurting PlayStation, even though you people don't want to admit it. Go ahead, 70 million hardware sales, as if that's going to make a difference, even though you only got one PS5 in your home. If that's what makes you feel better, considering that you have a lack of first-party games on your platform, and the only thing you're looking forward to playing is Xbox games, you know, that's why you guys have Xbox game scraps, then go ahead, because you're still giving Microsoft your money anyway.
Every other generation that Sony has been putting out has more games, more passion, more experimentation.
That's not true, because if you actually looked at the metrics and the data, it stated that the PS5 has over 10,000, 11,000 games in Xbox. No, I think it's about 10,000 and Xbox is about 11,000. Now, most of it is probably indie shovelware. But no, we have more games now than we've ever had back then. Now, we can argue the quality of the games. Yes, I would say that. Back then we had quality and quantity, but nowadays you just have just quantity. You know what I mean? And a lot of it's probably due to backwards compatibility and just being able to carry the PS4 and all those indie games. Not even PS4, PS5 versions. So that's all probably included in that data, because I did look it up. We actually have more games now than we've ever had, except the difference is these games are boring and trash.
Good stories.
And shovelware.
Whereas with the PS5, they're letting everybody else make good games, which is fine. I'm not saying every game sucks, but people are beginning to realize...
Oh, wow. Now you're starting to realize? Oh, that's funny, Dreamcast guy, because I remember making videos about this in regards to you for a very long time.
We're not going to get new first-party games until the PlayStation 6.
Woo! It's over. PlayStation 5 is dead. You guys are going to defend this notion? The PlayStation 5 generation barely even started. Well, it started, but it barely even got anything together, and we're already talking about transitioning to the PlayStation 6. What makes you think as a consumer that I want to go out there and buy a PlayStation 6 if I wasn't happy with the PlayStation 5? Do you hear this, bro? You just admitted that Sony has absolutely nothing, bro. You ponies are in shambles. Go ahead. Oh, hardware. Yeah, people picked up the PS5 for third party, and that's Call of Duty, a game that Microsoft owns. There you go.
Let's talk. I hope you're having a great day and to kind of realize and do the math and realize we're not seeing anything until PlayStation 6. So in 2020,
Look at that.
Sony announced 12 live service games. We now know what all 12 of these are because almost
canceled. You hear this, bro? Oh, let's act like this is a good thing, guys. The only one that actually did well was Helldivers 2, and that had more to do with the PC.
All of them have been canceled. So that means that this is an entire generation where...
Remember when they said Scalebound is what single-handedly destroyed the Xbox? But at least that was one game out of the Xbox One generation. We're talking about 12 potential games being canceled by Sony. This is ridiculous, bro.
More than half of...
Oh, but Sony's doing good. You guys got more canceled games than release games on your platform. I mean, if that was all exclusives, that could have been all exclusives for you right there. But nope, they got canceled.
Studios have been working on stuff for years, only for it to get scrapped, and now they're working on PlayStation 6 launch games. Okay, so the damage Jim Ryan has done to PlayStation...
Oh, here we go. Stop blaming Jim Ryan. He ain't even at the company no more, bro. Why are you guys blaming a guy that's not even there, bro? It's stupid. It's like saying, oh, well, the reason why the Xbox is terrible because of Don Matrix and he told people to pick up the 360 over there and buy one. Bro, he's not even there at the company, bro. This is all Herman Hurst, and you people don't want to project that onto him. That's why his live service and subscription game will come out, but everybody else's got canceled. Because you know why? He has more confidence. This man smells his own farts every morning. This man act like his stuff don't stink.
Like, greenlighting these games is legendary. I've seen so many people talking about really putting this on the shoulders of Jim Ryan. There have been a bunch of public statements and private statements, leaks and press releases and stuff about the fact that sequels, spin-offs, stuff like Infamous Second Son, let's do Uncharted 4, Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Well, what do you guys don't understand? Those games don't sell well, and on top of that, those games came out at a time when Fortnite and those games weren't really out. Now that the beast is fully out, I don't think these games are going to sell as well.
Let's play it safe with games that are good, that we know people are going to buy and celebrate and keep talking about. And that worked, but he went too far. He definitely went, okay, let's only play it safe. Literally zero people are ever happy about this. Is this weird obsession with taking teams that historically have been the best at single-player stuff and just forcing them to make a multiplayer project.
Oh, really? Because that didn't impact Last of Us when that game came out. That did not impact Uncharted. That didn't impact a lot of PlayStation games that had single-player and multiplayer components. It's just now Sony has to deal with a different beast altogether, and that is the free-to-play market. This is something I've been telling y'all. Y'all really think people care about exclusivities, and I've been saying time and time again that nobody cares.
We saw that with Rocksteady. They made the incredibly good Arkham Batman games, and they said, oh, how much has been canned? And it's really weird to actually see this.
Well, you know, it's so funny that you guys want to blame Jim Ryan for all these failures, but yet nobody's blaming Herman Hurst, whatever his name is. And what's even crazy, isn't Marathon still coming out? So if Sony wanted to shift their strategy, then why didn't they just say, you know what? We're canceling this game too to bring you a single player. No, they're going to still continue to have it, right? And it is what it is. It's so funny how you guys got a game called Insomniac, Spider-Man, The Great Web, and Microsoft released a game called Indiana Jones and the Great Circle of Fanboys.
So in 2020, when they announced the 12 live service games, I pushed back against it. A lot of people pushed back against it because the idea of all this live service is infinitely expensive. You're constantly having a massive dev team with no vacations, tons of crunch. You're constantly having to churn out new maps, new content, new characters, new microtransactions.
Just admit it. Yeah, it's expensive. But so is putting $500 million into a game. Oh, you know what? $400 million into a game and having nobody buy it. Like Concord. Or how about putting $400 million into Final Fantasy, 16, and having that game potentially fail. You know, explain to me how is this any different? Because live service and subscription games ain't the only games that are failing on Sony. There's also been single player games that have also failed on PlayStation.
And so because of it, not only is it ridiculously expensive, but it's going to just measurably soak up the teams around it. I mean, a lot of times, look at Bungie. Bungie was always having to hire. They were always having to fire. They were constantly trying to worry about the next season, the next DLC, the next big patch. So, Sony fans, Xbox people, I feel like there's this rivalry of, okay, Xbox owns a lot of studios. They're trying to put stuff everywhere. Even when there is a good Xbox game, I'll just buy it on PlayStation. But
that's not true because you played Indiana Jones on Xbox, though. You even bought it. You even said it in your video that you bought it. Now you're just going to wait for the PS5 version.
Also going, okay.
Which is even more funny because that means you're giving Microsoft 2 times the amount of money. Wow.
How is Sony going to keep up? How is Sony going to get motivated?
Let's go.
Is Sony really ever
They
going to
can't
have
because
that?
you know why? Because PlayStation is dead. PlayStation is the one dead here.
That fire under their asses to try to beat the competition when it feels like Sony
What do you mean? What do you mean beat the competition? I thought Sony was the competition. What competition are you telling people to beat? I thought Sony had the 5-1 lead.
Care about the competition. Sony doesn't care because systems keep selling. The third-party stuff.
Well, but that's what y'all keep advocating for. Ain't that the stuff that y'all say? And then when real gamers tell you that who cares how many consoles are sold, where's the games, you people got a problem with us. The consoles is only as good as the games that are on it. And we all know why people are picking up a PS5. And that's for third party. You people know it. We have been stating this time and time again. It goes like this. People pick up a PS5 for third party, and then the second one is Xbox games. There you go. You better hope Nintendo don't put no games on PS5, because that will single-handedly destroy. It would be like this: third party, Xbox game, Nintendo. I think Xbox and Nintendo games would probably be around the same, and then PlayStation games would be dead last. Imagine having a PlayStation 5 console and your games are at the bottom of what people are playing on it, because that's exactly what's going on. You can't say that about Nintendo. You can't even say that about Xbox games. Halo, Gears, they still trend, bruh. They still trend. They might not be like Call of Duty and all that, but people still playing them. There's still a audience for those games. That's why they still making them.
Paying the bills. But I think it really kind of puts into perspective how much Sony has this razor-thin profit margin. They're constantly just trying to
sell. I thought y'all said Sony was making mad money.
A game for a profit and get you enticed to buy the next PlayStation, the next limited edition.
Yeah, but what about the games, bro?
Like these big gambles that they hope.
Oh, now you want to call them what they've always been, gambles.
Would put them in a better spot, have now just blown up in their faces one by one. Every live service game, every weird project, everything that was supposed to be the infinite moneymaker has now become a money pit.
Ha ha.
Putting a remake studio into a live service title, let alone God of War, is certifiably insane. Bloodborne remake is right there. The fact that they have still exciting, but the people at the top don't understand.
That game failed, though. What are you talking about? That game failed. Every game that you're showing here failed, bro.
Like, clearly, no offense to Herman Hulst and all the people at the top of Sony and
stuff.
Yeah,
blame who's really dealing with this. Stop blaming Jim Ryan.
I feel like those guys do not understand how much people would tear their hair out for a completely new Uncharted game at this point.
Really? Is that why nobody bought a Golden Abyss?
Uncharted 5 or a remake.
Did that force people to... Did that game single-handedly save the Vita? No. But if Pokemon was on Vita, people would pick up a Vita. So that shows you that your games have no weight. This is what people is telling you. PlayStation games have no weight. Y'all like the lowest common denominator when it comes to video games, bro. Nobody really likes PlayStation games, man. Y'all like Xbox games more than your own games.
Or sequel or a reboot. How much people just want good single-player games, even if it has a multiplayer component?
Nobody wants single-player games, and you know why? Because look at the top 10 charts of your PlayStation 5, and I guarantee you they're all live services subscription games. That it's facts. So you can't name one single-player game that's in the top 10. And usually when they get to the top 10, the only game that even came close was Elden Ring. But that's from Software, and it's multi-plat. So no real in Skyrim still, because it's like a phenomenon game. So certain games, like certain single-player games do stay on the top, but they don't stay in the top 10 for long, bro.
Make a good single-player game. Yeah, I know that's a lot easier said than done, but at this point...
Yeah, and they did it with Astrobot, and it only sold 1.5 million.
What happened to giving people cool experiences to play?
Cool experiences is not what bringing in the money, you big dummy. Because a lot of people would say Astrobot was a cool, unique... Well, it's not really, but a cool, unique experience. And nobody bought it. It could even... If this was a Nintendo game, this game would have sold in the millions. Especially if you're talking about 70 million PS5s out there. They would buy their Odysseys. Don't you forget that. They support their games. I'm guaranteed that the Switch 2 ain't gonna have nothing but cross-generation games and definitive versions of games that came out on the Switch. And guess what? They're still gonna buy it. Oh, why you buying Tears of the Kingdom again for $70 when you have it on the Switch 1? Well, even though it's backwards compatible, well, because I support Nintendo. Like I've said before, Nintendo gamers, as dumb as they, delusional as they can be, they will support their intellectual properties, even if it's a cash grab.
Talk about to share, to clip, to post on the internet. PlayStation, you gotta get back to your roots, man. I'm not
And what
sure.
roots is that? Because PlayStation never had roots. All their roots have been stolen. All their roots have been taken by third party and just was made for the PS1 and 2. This is why you guys can't stand to see Sony the way they are today. And the entitlement comes in because you guys are comfortable just playing on the PS1 and having access to your little Final Fantasies and nobody else has it. But that ain't happening no more. That's why Sony is plummeting. Because now Sony has to focus on themselves and their own games, and it ain't working. See, when y'all was saying, Nintendo GameCube, haha, even though Wii wasn't successful for some games, haha, look at the Wii U, haha, y'all didn't sell as many hardware sales as us as we do, right? Haha. But Nintendo finally got to that moment where they knew that if they kept putting more love and interest into their own games during the 64 and GameCube, that legacy would still carry on. Do you get what I'm saying? That's why Nintendo had commercials, either get in or get out. And it's still very much like that.
What magic got lost, what fear got stoked.
It's not that the magic got lost, it's just the fact that you guys realized that PlayStation was never really good to begin with.
To you boys, but remember when gaming was a lot more clean, when gaming was a lot more focused, when gaming was a lot more, I don't know, for the gamers.
Oh no, it's just you played that. It's still very much for the gamers. It's just the fact that you guys have to deal with games going multiplayer and you have to deal with thing changes. That's all it is, bro. You guys can't live in the comfortable days of having Capcom release games solely for you for the PS1 and 2. PS1 and 2. Oh, Devil May Cry being an exclusive. I'm telling you, man, if you really actually think about what I'm saying, the PlayStation 1 and 2 really had nothing. Now, they had good games. I could name you the Sony in-house games. But let's be honest. Parappa the Rapper? Really? Parappa the Rapper? Look at the Jumping Flash. These are PlayStation 1 games. Intelligent Cube. Garbage. Absolute trash. Ape Escape was good, but come on, man. It ain't no Mario 64. Y'all know this. Y'all never owned Crash. That was Universal. Y'all didn't have nothing, bruh. Think about what I'm saying, bruh. Oh, but I used to play Tenchu. That's Sony don't own it. All the games you played on PS1 and 2, Sony never owned. Think about what I'm saying. Oh, we had that PS2 had Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy X. They don't own them. Now that you can see these games dropping on other platforms, now you guys are like, dang, the PlayStation 5 sucks. Because you got to look at it from its own library. It's just the same argument when I hear from Super Nintendo fanboys that say the Sega Genesis was worse. Was it really? Sega Genesis had their own games. For every Final Fantasy, we had a Phantasy Star. For every Final Fight, we had a Streets of Rage. For every Mario, we had a Sonic. You get what I'm saying? Sega Genesis had their own in-house games. For every Donkey Kong Country, they had a Vector Man. You get what I'm saying? These are games that Sega owns. Y'all ain't listening. I think it's going through one ear and out the other. Like I said, you take third party away from the Super Nintendo and the Sega Genesis is a far better console. Final Fantasy should have been on Genesis. All those games should have been elsewhere. But no, that's what Sony knew. That's why Sega said, Sony, they don't know how to make games. And they don't. Sony never knew how to make games. And the games they made, which was funny, what was that game? For the Sega CD? Cliffhanger? Be honest, bro. The Broadman Dracula game, that's the game Sony was making. They were garbage. Sega had every right to say that about Sony. But what Sony did with the PS1 was make their system accessible to where third party flocked to it. That is it. You guys love PlayStation due to third party. You never loved it due to Siphon Filter. You never loved it due to Twisted Metal. Yes, there was a minority of people that did, but the majority of PlayStation 1 and 2 owners was third party. Y'all know it. If you told me to make the top 100 list games of the best PS1 titles, the majority of them are going to be third party. I'm telling you, and there'll be a few exclusives in there. I mean, one was a pretty good game. You know what I mean? But majority, like the ones that I really cherished and loved was third party, bruh. Dino Crisis 1, Dino Crisis 2. Sony don't own these games, bruh. They don't own them. Sorry to break it to you. You PlayStation fanboys have been believing these lies. That's why y'all still believe that y'all own Crash Bandicoot when it was always Universal. It's just Naughty Dog created it at the time. But when Naughty Dog decided to create their own platformer, y'all didn't support it. Y'all supported a third-party Crash, right? But y'all didn't support Jak and Daxter. Ooh! Y'all didn't support that. And that was a Sony game, and Naughty Dog made that game specifically because they lost the license for Crash, because they never owned it. They were just making the games for PS1. You big dummy. Bro, you know what, man? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. Like I said, bro, ponies, they just taking L's, bro. Oh, but we got home. Go ahead, hardware sales. Ain't nobody care, bro. Peace out.